All right, hello everyone. Welcome to week one. This week we'll focus on the concept of law enforcement intelligence. If you look at if you're looking in Blackboard, you'll see that there's several different materials for this week. There's a C-SPAN video and two readings. Please do watch the C-SPAN video. It does a really good job of identifying key players in law enforcement intelligence and discusses the National Criminal Intelligence Sharing Plan. There's also two readings by Dave Carter. The first is his intelligence guide for state, local, and tribal law enforcement. And as you will see when you open it, it's a very lengthy report, like 500 pages. You don't have to read all 500 pages. The first 55 pages are the most important ones for this week. And this article will also be the main focus of the video. The other reading is a report to the START Consortium. Excuse me, this one's only about 20 pages, so please read all of that one. All right, since I'm already asking you to watch a video that's almost an hour long, from C-SPAN, this is going to be a pretty short video. Before we go any further, really, and discuss intelligence or counterterrorism, it's important that everybody's on the same page, regarding law enforcement intelligence concepts and terminology. You hear the terms information and intelligence, and they're often used interchangeably, but they're really not the same thing. At the most basic level, intelligence is the product of this analytic process that evaluates information from a variety of sources, integrates it into some kind of package, and then draws conclusions or makes estimates or forecasts about some kind of criminal phenomenon. Okay, so information is simply that. It's simply information. Information are these pieces of raw, unanalyzed data, that identify persons, organizations, evidence, events, something that indicates the presence of criminal activity, but it's not intelligence, okay? But information is critical to intelligence, because without information, you cannot have an intelligence process for the information to go through, okay? So Table 2.1 in the reading really does provide a good example of the differences between information and intelligence. All right, so there's two main purposes to law enforcement intelligence function. Prevention and planning, and resource allocation. So prevention is, gaining or developing information related to threats of terrorism or crime, using it to either eliminate or mitigate the threat. Okay, and that consists of tactical and operational intelligence. Planning and resource allocation allows decision makers to learn about threats for the purpose of developing strategies, and then allocating resources to accomplish prevention. Now, not all intelligence is the same. There's two broad categories. The first is the discipline of intelligence, and that refers to a set of rules, processes, and the lexicon of the intelligence function. It includes law enforcement intelligence, homeland security intelligence, which is all hazards intelligence, and then national security intelligence. Second category is the application of intelligence, which deals with the knowledge related to a specific crime type. So we're going to focus on the three types included in the discipline of intelligence: law enforcement intelligence, homeland security, all hazard intelligence, and national security intelligence. Law enforcement intelligence is also sometimes called criminal intelligence, and refers to law enforcement's responsibility to enforce criminal laws. Homeland security, or all hazards intelligence, utilizes law enforcement responsibilities, but focuses more on the order maintenance function of law enforcement rather than the criminal enforcement aspects or function of law enforcement. When you mention all hazards, obviously there's some gray areas right in there. This type of intelligence refers to non-criminal domestic threats to critical infrastructure, community health, and public safety for the purpose of preventing the threat or mitigating the effects of a threat. For example, any intelligence that would relate to the coronavirus pandemic would fall under this type of intelligence. National security intelligence is the collection and analysis of information concerned with the relationship of the United States with foreign powers, organizations, and persons regarding political and economic factors, as well as U.S. sovereignty. NSI contains both policy and military intelligence. Policy intelligence is concerned with threatening actions and activities, while military intelligence focuses on hostile entities, weapon systems, warfare capabilities, and order of battle. The organizations responsible for NSI are known as the intelligence community. And the intelligence community consists of 16 different organizations, and there's a list of them there in the report. So take a look at these agencies contained in the intelligence community. What do you think about those? Are they the appropriate ones to be in there? Should there be some that are in there that aren't? Should there be some of those not in there that are in there? So take a minute and think about that. And then also, there are different rules depending on whether or not you're collecting law enforcement intelligence or national security intelligence. Okay, if you're collecting law enforcement intelligence, there's a different set of rules you have to follow than if you're collecting national security intelligence. So because of that, national security intelligence, it's very difficult for it to be used by state, local, or tribal law enforcement because it could derail prosecutions because they use a different set of rules. Okay, and it goes into that quite a bit in the report. If they do use it, it could open the officer up to some civil liability as well. All right, so that's just something real short. Excuse me. Make sure you read everything. Read those first 55 pages. Read the start report. Watch the C-SPAN video. But I'm going to stop here for this week. Do your assignments. Make sure you've done the stuff in the introduction discussion board, or the introduction folder, which is the introduction discussion board. Do the assignment for this week, and please let me know if there's any questions. I'll see you next week.